Hello gentle people, Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we will carve a little knight. I haven't carved a knight in quite some time. I've tried many different things in the last 2 weeks. Nothing really came to be the best thing. I wanted to try to carve really simple things, and I came to the conclusion that there's a lot of other channels who carve really simple things. Brian from Carving is Fun is probably the best example. I think everyone is carving a little fox right now as I've seen it across the internet. So I think I will probably focus still on my little beginner plus, let's say, carving with my little Viking guys or knights or anything medieval alike. So yeah, today I'll go back to my old love of carving on the corner, like many videos I've done before, and we will still keep the carvings as flat plain as possible, because this is what I like to do now. First thing first, take your favorite piece of wood. As all my carvings, they are 1¼ inch by 1¼ inch by 3. A little bit more than 3, but 3, that works. Proportion wise, if you have 1 inch by 1 inch or 2 inch by 2 inch or 1.5 by 1.5, I think it's important to make sure that the height is a little bit more or at least double than the width. So if you have a 2 by 2 by 4, it will be fine. If you have a 1 by 1 by 2, it might be a bit small for your hand to hold, but it would still work, right? So take your piece of wood, make sure you have carving glove if you're starting. I've been carving for getting close to 2 years now. I still wear gloves because, yeah, I just don't like cutting myself. And even if you absolutely know how to hold a knife, sometimes a piece of wood can be weak, and just by putting a little bit of pressure you can slip. Take your favorite knife, make sure it's sharp, and let's start with the lines. So let's start with the middle line of all sides. How I do, like every time, I put my fingers on one side, place the pencil where I want to be, and I will slide with my finger alongside. So this is eyeballing the middle, and I will just slide up and down, and then I have a middle line straight. Okay, and then you can, since all sides are the same, you can just keep your pencil and your fingers at the same distance, and then go up and down and up and down. So I have this ugly texture here on one side as usual, so this will be one of the back. What I want to do there is the front will be this here, so I can put a little arrow, and I will link the two lines here together and these line here. So this will be the top of the head with the helmet. All of this wood will be removed. So then at around probably 1/2 inch, no less than that, 1¼ again, I'll make a little line here. Then the same thing, I'll push my finger. If you have something to make a straight line, just use it, a ruler or anything. I just eyeball my things usually, so same thing, put my finger, put my pencil on the line, and then I move my arm back and forth. Okay, so this is the front. The back usually is higher because of shoulders, so we'll do a little line at 1 inch instead of 1¼ Okay, here in the corner, and then we will go on the line here and join it in the back. It's just as a guidance, because these lines will be removed anyway at some point. Okay, and then we will have a shield on one side and a sword on the other. So for the shield, what I will do is, let's make a square-ish. So this is 1¼ I will make another 1¼ here. Okay, so that's a square. So what I want to do is have the shield in an angle. So it's really up to you what you want to do with the shield, but I will do a little curved, maybe a shield like that. Okay, it's really up to you. And then maybe there will be a, I don't know, some sort of a cross here later. We will see. And then here for the sword on this side, I will do a little chip here. Then I will go into probably a centimeter, or let's have it like this. So in inches, it's almost half an inch. So you can have a little line of, let's say, almost half an inch at the top here. All right, okay. Then for the hand here, at same height, I would say, almost half an inch, we'll make a little chip again. Then we'll link these two, all right. And then at, again, half an inch here, make a little mark and link these two. Okay, so that will be about the sword and the hand. Where the lines meet here, I'll just make a line perpendicular. Okay, so this will be the hand, fingers, maybe the arm there. I'm not doing anything in the back because for this guy I want to have a big cape. So I think I will probably just use all the back here. It will flatten at some point here in the back. So we won't have to really care about the back, which will make this carving way easier to carve. So that was the line. So now take your knife and we're good to go. First thing first, we will remove the corner here of the head because all of this wood, we want to remove it. So what I do is I go from here and I swoop it up. Okay, and you basically want to go all the way to this line here. It's fine if you go lower than the line. Okay, it's good enough. You don't have to go exactly to the line, just mostly to the line will be fine. Then you do the same thing on the other side. Then you can look and see if the shape is pretty symmetrical at the top, which is pretty much the case right here, which is good. Then we can go on the back. We will flatten the whole thing here. So first you remove a chunk. To have this shape here at the top. All right. Check the corners if they are the same. This one is a bit smaller than this one, but it's not a big deal. And then we will pop that whole thing here. If you can probably do that in one go. Remove a big chunk, right? And then just remove more and more. And the wood will mostly split, no matter which side you carve, because it's a big chunk. And you just want to have this flat thing in the back, right? Good. So from here, we will, just for the sake of holding, make sure you remove a little bit on this side, and then a little bit on this side. This is not important, it's just that it will be better for your hand to hold this. Okay. So we will do the shoulder now. We will do a V-cut. Like this. Okay. Like so. It will give you this little thing on the side here. Same thing on the other end. Okay. So we have the same thing here. So we will do the front of the face now. So we will do a V-cut in the front. Okay. Like this. All right. And we'll go and merge the on the one side, merge the cuts. Okay, like so. Same thing on this side. Alright, so this is how it should look right now. We have the flat back, then we have the head that is split from the body in the front, right? And this is lighter here on the side. Good? Alright, so we will continue the head here on the back and split here from the back. We had this line before. We can redraw it here. And these will be joined there. Okay? So we'll do a V-cut here. At a certain depth. More depth means more shadow, and this is what we like in carvings. Okay, like this. And then we join the two here. Same thing on the other side. Alright, this is where we're at now. So all of this thing here is not what we want, so we will remove it now. Because we've done the V-cuts, it kind of serves as a stop cut, so while removing this wood, this part will not split. So you flip your carving, and little by little, you remove the wood. Right? All the way to a side for it to be flat. Okay, like this. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Good. It should be like this there. So this side is a bit bigger than this side, so I would remove a bit more. It's always important to look at your carving and see if it's somehow symmetrical where it needs to be. Okay. Good. I think it looks a bit better now. Okay, so we have the shape of the head now, and now we created the shoulders, and we still have the flat back. So this whole thing will be the cape. So for the cape, now, because we want to have a couple of lines, there's a multiple thing that we could do, but I want to keep it simple, so the cape will be one big chunk of wood that would basically cover. Let's say that we have like ½ an inch in the front here. Okay, it will cover this whole part. It will be behind the shield here probably, and then there, and this whole back thing will be straight here. So we won't have to deal with the backing. Okay. So just a reminder for this thing. So now let's attack the body. We'll finish with the head, which will be probably pretty simple because this person will have a helmet anyway. So we will just give a little cut here all the way to the front there. All right, that would be good enough. And then let's make a little V-cut just here. Okay, and then same thing on the other side. Just to remember that the cloak will go there and fall down. From here we can attack the shield, which is, I would say, the hardest part. So depending on the shape of the shield that you had before, let's say that I want it like this. Okay, I will redraw the line like so, and then the sword. Big sword here. Alright. The sword need a thickness, of course, here. So it's better to have a bigger thickness than a smaller, because you can always remove wood, but you cannot add wood, of course. So let's attack the shield. You will take the tip of your knife and stab it in the wood. Okay. So following the lines that I have, I'll do a cut like this, then another one like that. Then I will go with the curve here, and then here. Okay. If you go straight, that will be easier, of course, than a curve, but I just felt like having a little curve like here. Okay. So I will start on this side. I will go in with the tip of my knife alongside the curve here and remove the wood. Okay. And then I will do just a couple of those here. Give a little depth for the shield, as you can see. Okay. Just that for now will do. We'll come back later. So we'll do the same thing here in an angle. I will put my knife in and remove that. If you have a V tool or a gouge, you could also just go along the line and use that, but I don't use a gouge. I only use a knife all the time. Same thing on this side. I will put the tip of my knife in an angle and go along the line, making sure as much as I can that the tip of my knife doesn't go farther than the line itself. It takes a bit of practice to kind of know where the tip of your knife goes, but it's what I'm doing here. Okay. Okay, like this. And then we will do the same thing on this side. Making sure to not remove too much here where the sword thickness will be. Alright. So for now, this thickness will work. We have the shield. Alright. For the sword, this line here, the middle line that we had before, will serve as the arm. Right? And then we have the hand and the sword itself. So for now, let's do the easy part here. So we will just make a stop cut along that line. Alright? And then remove some wood. Alright. Like this, with a couple of millimeter thickness. Then flatten it up. Remove a bit more. There. That is good enough. Then from here, which is a little bit of a harder part, is you will do a stop cut along the arm and along the sword. Right. So don't go too high because the cloak is still supposed to be around here. So one cut like this, and then another cut like that. Be careful that here you have the knife, right? The shield. So we'll start by this little corner here. You will have to carve towards you if you're right-handed. And then we will do the same thing. In an angle, we will stab the knife in and remove the wood. I will do a little rotation to make sure that the knife hand at this angle. Like so. Then I will just remove the wood. Okay. I can do that again. And remove the wood. Alright. And let's do a third time. Like so. Good. Then if there's a little bit of wood, you can try to clean that now or later. Okay? Now we have the shield here. We also need a thickness for the shield, of course. So let's try to not remove all the wood, so we can still have a little thickness for the shield. So let's say that we want to leave a couple of mil, like so. So I'll make a little step cut here at the shield, remove that wood here a little bit, be careful, okay? And then stab my knife here and remove the wood there. Okay. And then come back and forth a couple of times, because every time you go here, you will remove wood at that side. That you come back here again and remove with the tip of your knife. It's important to note that depending on the length of your blade, I purposely use a longer blade because I just like how it is. You can't obviously go straight, you have to go in an angle because the arm is in the way, right? But it's good to show you and practice to understand the length of your blade and what you can and can't do when you carve. Okay, so we have the shield thickness here. We will, as I've done many times before, cheat. And what I mean by that is I don't want to remove all the wood from the body to join this thickness all the way around, because that will bring everything inside. And I don't exactly want to do that. So it's fine if, at least for me, if the shield is kind of going through the body a little bit. I personally don't care. Okay, so we have the basic shape. Of the front here. Okay, now we will do the sword part there. So a little stab. Be careful because you had the end grain here. So you don't want to push too hard so this whole sword will break out. Just want a little cut to help you. Okay. Then from here slowly you will remove wood. Make sure that the tip of your knife is following the line and all the way here under the shield and in the little corner. Slowly by slowly, you don't have to try to remove a giant chunk of wood. Okay. Like so. And then from there, carefully you will carve against the grain to remove more wood. If your knife is sharp, you should not have problem carving against the end grain. Right? And then do the same thing again. Just now you have more space. So you should have a certain thickness on the sword, on the shield now. So it's up to you how deep you want to go. For now, it's enough for me on this side. I'll just come here and cut a little bit more wood. Okay, good. So as you can see here, we have the sword thickness and the shield. I feel like I want to remove a little bit more here. It's a bit too thin for me. When you start carving against the grain like this, alright? I'm not carving in the wood, I'm carving straight in the grain. Be careful, because this is where the wood will split easily. So don't put too much pressure, and just go slowly and careful. The sword will serve as a stop cut. This is why I've done it like this. Okay, so that's deep enough for me now. It's sort of the same depth. Good. Okay, now just cleaning the sword a little bit, which is intricate for obvious blade length reason. Okay, this is not looking good enough for me, so I will clean it straight away. Good. Let's do the cloak, cape, name it, whatever. All right. So in the front, I will flatten this whole part. So it should be sort of flat, which is the case right now. And then we have the line here. We'll go there, and then here. Okay. Somehow like that. So, as usual, we'll do a little V-cut. Like so. Okay. And then we will join the little V-cut to the middle to the little V-cut. Of course the shield is in the way now, so I'll start with that as a little bit more intricate, but you do a V-cut like this. Depending on the shape of the shield, if you wanted to do it like mine or not, you might have to do that or not. Okay. And then let's take this and just join it somehow. And it should be good enough. Okay. Like this. Now this is the easier part. I'm doing two, but if the length of your blade is long enough like mine, you could do just one long V-cut. And merge these. Okay. I will readjust the arm. Like so. Alright. So, just to make sure that the cloak is some sort of going in here, I will just join these little cuts together so it's one continuous going around like that. And same thing on that side. But since there's the hand on this, I will just make a little cut and just put the hand a little bit back in, like so. Okay. Alright. And now I will just fix, because I was carving against the grain, so it split a little bit. Good. So now the hand is some sort of inside. And we don't like straight cuts, so I will just remove the edge. And same thing on the hand. Good. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Okay. So now let's just remove all the marks on the front here, then on the side there. Okay. It's important to remove the wood, the bandsaw mark or anything, because when you apply paint or oil or both, it will soak up way better if it's straight on the wood cut. So I will do the same thing in the back. When you do this, make sure that you're carving with the grain and not against it. So we'll make sure that you will not split the whole thing. And it's a thing you just feel at some point. You kind of know where the grain is heading. And it's heading in that direction right now for this. And here is pretty much the same. Okay. Now the back is pretty clean. Good. Back is as simple as that. You don't have to do much more. But as you can see from me, it's going a little bit inside here and outside there. So I will try to bring just this thing a little bit inside, so it kind of creates the same shape if you look below. Okay. Almost. This side is way bigger than this one, but it's okay. Good. Now let's do the hand and the sword. So we will adjust the line here. Alright, so that's the sword. So we'll just do one cut, stop cut here. Okay. And then go inside in an angle. And then to do the guard, we'll do another cut on this side and carve towards it, like so. Of course, it's a big cartoony looking sword, which is what I want with my little flat plane guy. And you come in and then you just remove a little corner. You have to be careful because you're carving with the grain, this. If you put too much strength, you might remove a little bit too much wood. Same thing on this side. And on this side. Alright. It's good. So I will just remove the marks. So it's important to separate the hand and the arm. Okay. So we'll do the same thing. Little stop cut. And remove a little bit of wood to separate the hand from the arm itself. Good. Like this. So the knight has gloves, so we don't have to do any sort of fingers, because I decided that the knight had some gloves. And that's, of course, way easier. Okay. But how I love my carving is I don't like these really sharp edges. Alright, so now I will round everything. There's a multiple way of doing so, but I will put my knife in an angle and I will just in one go remove everything, and you see it's now not as sharp as it was. I will do the same thing here, being careful of the shield. Right. Okay. Then I'll pop the lower part of the sword like this, and I will come here in an angle and remove the tip of the sword here. I will remove the texture there, and I will do the same thing on this side, in an angle, removing a little bit of wood. Alright? And I will fix that straight away. Okay, that'll be good for now. Great. So that's where we are now. The sword, the guard, the glove, the arm, all the cloak in the front, and the shield. So now let's go attack the shield itself. I will just remove. See, now I'm against the grain here. It's splitting. So I have to come on the other side. And I might have split it a bit too much, so I will have to fix that. Which is a bit sad because I will lose quite a lot of depth. Okay. Yeah, I had to remove quite a lot of wood because of this little mistake. So I might want to remove a little bit more wood. And this part again. Okay. So that's a little wonky shield that I see now, because this is going rounded and this is spiky, so I will probably try to fix it by removing a bit of wood here. It's fine to readjust your carving, you know. Just listen to the wood and try to make sure that if you go one way in a thing, you can fix it after. Like so. Now the shield is way less wonky. Good. So you could absolutely leave the shield like this and paint it. But I think I will want to have a little bit more detail, so I will just give it a border. Alright. Something like this. So for this little tricky part, you don't have to do it, like I said, if you don't feel like it, but I will stab my knife, not too deep, following the lines. And then on this side. So now, because I know carving in this direction is against the grain, right? So I don't want to split more wood, so I will make sure that I always carve in this direction. So same thing as we've done all around. Now I want to remove the wood inside. Of course, look at the length of my blade. I can't just go in, so I have to go in an angle and remove bit by bit. Alright, like this. Then rotate. Move like that. And same thing, if I go in that direction, I will split the grain. So I have to go in that direction instead. You could do a little bit against the grain, and it should be fine. But if you do a big chunk, you will mostly split the grain. If the stop cut is done, like here, then you can go and it will be fine, because I will not split this part. And then from here, I will remove this thing. A little bit more. Alright, so now we have a border and you have a thing inside. I will leave it like this because I want to carve. I want to paint a cross here because I feel like it will be a Crusader. Okay. So Now, just looking at the armor, it's a bit wonky that it's kind of pointing out like that, right? So I would just flatten whatever I can, and it will be more quote-unquote flat plane for the obvious flatness reason. And same thing with the edge here of the arm. I don't want it to be sharp, so I will just round it up like this. Okay? We are pretty much there. Great. Great, 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 great. Just remove this little tidbit here. Good. The face now. I will just remove the texture of the wood. On both sides. Be careful of the grain again. If you're against the grain, you will pop a big part. So, I obviously don't want a helmet to be pointy like that, so I will just flatten the whole thing. Okay. Like so. Remove the texture here in the back. Alright. And then the shoulders are not exactly like I want them to be. Like this is heading down compared to this side. So I will just fix that right here. Carving in an angle. Okay. That's fine for now. Good. The cool thing with the helmet, well, like the one I want to do, is that it can be absolutely flat at the top. So I will try to make sure that both sides are sort of looking the same. Sort of. Flatten that part here. And then we will first, in an angle, I will eyeball it, but let's say that a couple of mil like this, right? Okay. In an angle, we will pop this thing, like so. Okay. And then we will do the same thing all around. Like this. A bit more of that. Okay? So it gives a little curve at the top. For the top here, you will carve towards yourself, and then you will use the knife like so. And what I do is I basically wiggle and remove the bandsaw mark at the end grain. This part, when you apply the oil, because it's the end grain, it soaks up really well. Okay, good. Now we have the helmet really straight like this. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. Back is really flat and plain. This is on purpose. Sword and shield, and the face. We're almost there. We will finish with the helmet, and we will pretty much done. For the helmet itself, because along the way I decided that it will be a Crusader, there will be a cross on his face. So, I don't have any measurement for you, but the cross will mostly take all his face, alright? And then on the side here, you all know, I hope, how a cross looks like. Something like this, right? Good. something along those lines. There'll be a cross. And then the eyes could be under here. Alright, so how do we do that? Well, we have this flat plates here that I will just remove a little bit. So on the side, we can do a stop cut where the line was, here. And we'll just remove a little bit of wood, like so, okay? Same thing at the bottom, where the cut was, and remove a little bit of wood. It's okay to make the cross bigger, because we can always remove more wood, we can't add. Good, so on the side here, we'll make a cut along those lines. Same thing on that side, okay? I'll make a little step cut here, and another step cut here. Great. So from here, using the tip of your knife, you will remove just a little bit of wood on the side, like so. Same thing on the other side. Great. So we have just a little bit of wood. That will create the cross. So we'll do the same thing at the top. Straight, straight, step cut, and a step cut. Alright, we'll do the same. Remove a little bit of wood along the cross. And here, I know it's not straight, so I'll just cut it a little bit more. And then now, we'll join the cross itself on both sides. So we'll remove wood from below, from above, same thing on this side. And from below. Alright. Now we have to remove just this little bit of wood, so you will stab it on an angle with the tip of your knife. Alright. Pop it up. Same thing on this side. Good. So we have the cross. If I remove all of this and all of this. Okay. Now the cross is sort of like inside the helmet and the helmet is popping out. So the thing I will do is that I will remove wood from the helmet here, flatten it up. Same thing at the top. Okay. And then pop that thing again. Okay, and then we can try to do that a little bit on the side also. Remove just a little bit of wood to make sure that the cross itself is outside, is popping out of the helmet. Same thing on this side. Great. Now the cross is pretty much outside of the helmet. I remove one of the corner, I will pop it again, and this side is fine. Okay, so here we go, we have the cross. So if we paint it, well, that will be good. Now you could you have different ways, I guess. You could have the eye in the cross, but I want to have the eye under the cross somehow, like this, right? So I will just make a little square, well, more of a rectangle, with little stop cut. And I will slowly but surely remove wood, like this. Okay, same thing on this side. And then from the same thing here, and here. I will probably paint these little square black. Alright, so here we go. We have the eyes. Okay. So now I would say that the last thing we have to do is just fix all the little ugly cuts that you might have. Like here I have the grain that has split because I was against it. So I would just remove a little bit, shave it off. And here the cave is kind of going in. I'm not sure I like that. I'll just remove a little bit, like so. And fix the back here. Make it one beautiful straight flat plain cut, like so. And then here there's some little tidbits in the shield that I don't like. So you know, you just go in and you fix what you want. Be careful, it happened to me before that I wanted to fix something and then I broke the carving. So just do whatever you feel like is comfortable for you. It's still to the... I don't like the sharp edge, right? So I will try myself. You don't really have to do it, but just curve it a little bit along the border here. Just because I can. Need to remember that the grain is in the direction. Okay, that's a bit better. To my taste, at least. Alright, one thing I would love to do, that I always kind of like to do in the end, is to add a little bit of V-cuts in the fabric. Alright? Just so it gives a little bit more life to the carving. So you just do a couple where you feel like it. Then maybe one here on the side. Like this, and I could have a little one on the other side too. Like so. And this is a plate, so it's not really important to... I don't want to make a little fabric thing, because that would be painted as an armor plate. I want to make it flat though, because flat plane, of course. Could have a little V here in the arm. And so that's the glove, that's fine, the sword is fine. We have the cross. I could, usually helmet like this had like little holes to have the air pass in. I will not do that because it's too small. I will mostly break it. So if I want them, I will probably paint little black holes. I will see if I do that. And I think we are pretty much done. We could separate as a last thing. I will do one V-cut here. Alright. And why am I doing that? It's just to separate the body from the cape. You see now, Oops, there's a separation. So this will be painted in a different color than that. And do I have to do that on this side? I could, because the shield is sort of blocking it, but I can do a little one. When you're carving through the grain, end grain like this, don't push too hard, just go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way until you hear a little click. Then you can remove the wood. Okay, here we are. We have separated the cloak from the body on each side. Good. That is pretty much it. What we have. And here is how the piece could look like after a little paint job. I applied a coat of linseed oil, as I pretty much always do with my carving. I let it rest for not enough time. You should probably let it rest for 8 hours, maybe something like this, but I'm a bit impatient, so I let it rest for an hour or two, I think, and then I went on and added the paint. Really simple painting. It's what I usually do. I dilute acrylic paint in water, so it's more of a stain, so we can still see the grain. And I add the colors, and then at the end I do a little go off dry brushing. As you can see on the edges, they're a little bit more white. Same thing with the sword and the shield. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was easy enough to do, and we will see each other in the next one. Bye bye.